Thank you. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Global Festival 2023. My name is Janet Marenica, and I'm facilitating this session. So greetings from the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territory of the Anishinaabe and Algonquin peoples. I am based in Ottawa, Canada, and literally my location is 10 blocks from Parliament. I am very pleased to welcome you today to the festival, which has the festival theme of Tools for Transitions, Navigating in Polarities and Paradigms in Climate Change. So, as is the CCA way, first, we actually introduce our CCA team. So I would like to introduce Aya, who is our tech host. And without her, I would be lost. She has our back for this whole session. So welcome, Aya. I'd like to welcome Ritu Rana, who we'll be hearing about a little bit later. She is our speaker and presenter, and she's holding the space for the workshop for us this morning. And I'd also like to welcome Stu Pickles, who is in the CCA kind of coordinating, whatever they call it, group committee. And he joins us almost for every session. I hear he's been to how many sessions so far, Stu?
I think this could be 16th.
Yeah. So I welcome him as well. So get comfortable in your chairs. I invite you to get comfortable in your chairs, and I'm going to take you through a moment of presencing. It will include a round of 3 breaths with a final kind of 1 or 2 breaths, if you wish, to come back into the group. And I will give you, I will recite a small poem, but I will recite it each time with each breath. And if you wish, you can put yourself on video. So begin to concentrate on your breath. This is a gathering of CCA, and as a gathering, you will be held in the conversation that will happen over the next hour and a half. And this 3-breath exercise is a contribution to holding the container for that space. So on your first breath in, bringing you to center, letting go of everything that has come before you. Choose life, only that and always, and at whatever risk, to let life leak out, to let it wear away by the mere passage of time. To withhold giving it and spreading it is to choose nothing. A small breath, breathe that in. On your next inhale, come and ground yourself to still point. So you may be a little wobbly from your day wherever you are. Bring yourself to still point. Choose life, only that and always, and at whatever risk, to let life leak out and to let it wear away by the mere passage of time. To withhold giving it and spreading it is to choose nothing. As you inhale, breathe that in. Exhale. And on your next inhale, think about and sense into, now what? What comes next for me? So to choose life, only that and always, and at whatever risk, to let life leak out, to let it wear away by the mere passage of time. To withhold giving it and spreading it is to choose nothing. Breathe that in. Let it settle in you as you come into the container, the circle for this gathering. Just continue to breathe what resonates for you as we choose life. And when you're ready, come back to circle. So I will put that in our chat. It is a poem by Sister Helen Kelly, and it is found in a book by Margaret Wheatley. So our purpose with the Climate Coaching Alliance is to transform our practice, our coaching practice, to transform and have impact. And we are participating in the positive shift in human awareness to wider systemic changes in the world towards a truly regenerative future. I got involved in CCA in the summer actually of 2020, months after COVID had launched. And it was a integral master coach based in the States who, given my climate background, climate activist background, she said, "Do you know about CCA?" And I was, "Oh, how did I not know about CCA?" That was my response. And ever since, I've been involved in the Canadian context, and I've been a presenter at the last 2 years of conferences. This year, you won't see my name that way. You'll only see my presence as a facilitator. So we aim to influence the global professional coaching community to bring the deep and difficult questions of climate and ecological emergency into coaching conversations. So we're open and free, and we have a community that stems around the world. We've used the word hive to describe us over time. So we are following living systems principles to allow possibilities to emerge and ripple. So wherever they begin, like mycelium, they just spread around the world. So we're 2,500 members, and I believe that increases, especially during these sessions. So the numbers, I don't know, Stu, if you have a more updated number to offer us. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's ratcheting up every day.
Yeah, and we are across, is it still 6 continents, or has that increased? Yeah, 6, with many subcommittees. So once you join, and we have monthly meetings on Mondays, the first Monday of every month, and you'll hear a lot about different committees, and you'll receive, invitations to join, because we are open and free. And we are run entirely by volunteers. So we invite and welcome your contributions. And, you may wonder, I haven't done this before, or, just reach out. We have buddy systems set up, and, a lot of us are willing to walk with you as you gain experience and, walking with the community. So it's open to all, and please join in our $10 events. They're all free. So in the fall, we launched Ecological and Climate Conscious Coaching. It's a book that was written by our founders and a few other stakeholders. It's a companion guide to evolving coaching practice. So if you don't yet have the book, we encourage you to look it up and join us on Monday, the 27th of March. Eve Turner and Josie McLean, as part of this global festival, are going to walk us through the book. And actually, you can walk through the book because it's written that way. All author royalties go to charity. So many people that you will see in CCA who are facilitating, who have been who are hosting, who are also giving workshops. You may recognize their names in the book. The book has called on so many contributors and all the CCA communities around the world at the final chapter in the book actually have a write-up in terms of what their experiences are to date. You may be in the book as well. So there are translations in French so far, Spanish and Japanese. So join us on Monday, the 27th. Oops. So at this point, I will stop share. And I will introduce Ritu Rana. So she is based in Mumbai. And so think of our little CCA committee who met yesterday, Friday morning. We met Rita for about an hour, and that was myself, Aya, who is in Japan, and Ritu, who is in Mumbai. So she is a transformational coach. She is a professional coach. She is PCC level. And in her story, she has founded a coaching school. So without further ado, I pass it over to Ritu because she will tell us more about who she is and where she's come from.
Thank you, Janet. As always, it's always a pleasure to be part of this community, and I express my gratitude and heartfelt thank you to CCA for giving me the space to share a few thoughts that were going on in my mind with respect to a tool that could be created, where coaching and environmental awareness could merge. And this thought of doing something for the environment has been there since a long time with me, since I was in college in Delhi University back in 1994. However, I have done whatever that I could do in my capacity all along my journey. There came a time when I wanted to write a book with respect to environmental awareness, and this was in 2019. And just when I was getting my thoughts together, I stumbled upon CCA through LinkedIn, and there has been no looking back ever since then. So my conviction about going ahead and doing some work in this direction only got deeper with each interaction that I had with all of you here. So without saying much about me, I would like to start a little the presentation that I have here. So let me share my screen. You able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see. Maybe you can do the full screen.
Share.
Screen show.
I'm not getting the option of slideshow in this. Oh, just a minute. I think it should be at the bottom here. Yes.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
yeah, that one there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take a breath. We are all here with you.
Mhm.
Sure, I need that. So going forward with a small initiative that I'm doing at my end, which is conscious self-responsibility. And this initiative, I would say, started with my own thoughts when I was on coaching journey, when there was a churn of thoughts and emotions happening within. So I thought that if I put this into structure and share it with people who would be interested in exploring themselves other than the traditional coaching style, I thought I should have a structure to it to be able to share and explore. So now we are all here because we know that climate change is not just to do with environment, it's also to do with human behavior and how we are responding to climate change in particular. So with that, I'd like to quote this quote from Pere Thakada, which says, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." This quote resonated with me because as I speak, you will realize that the spiritual side of me will also reflect, because I have been associated with Art of Living and the Brahma Kumaris Foundation. And since 2003, I have been meditating and following spirituality. So I'd like to share this poem here, and I would want you to reflect as you read this poem. This is by Rumi, the Persian poet, philosopher, and the spiritual leader. I shall read it for you, and I'll request you to think as we go through this. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep.
Great.
Rumi had a beautiful way of expressing life's experiences in the form of his work, especially his poems. And the first few lines of, it's a verse from the poem. It's a central verse of the poem, A Great Wagon by him. And the first line of this poem, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. This stayed with me. Does this speak with you also? Would you like to share any of your thoughts?
Ritu, are you encouraging us to just raise our hand, or would you like our shots, or what we'd like to share in the chat?
I'm
Which
not
way?
able to see the chat. So you could just unmute yourself and share your thoughts. I can see the chat now, yes. Yes, Stuart?
Oh, I was just going to say, this is a poem that I did see for the first time a few years ago, and every time I come back to it, I feel it feels like coming home.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a liberating poem.
It's wonderful to know. Anybody else? Did it resonate with anyone here?
So Jen has shared in the chat that this is one of my deepest poems. It touches me and opens possibilities.
Thank you. It's beautiful. So
I'm actually holding this poem. It's amazing that it's come today because tomorrow in Ottawa, we have a protest, a demonstration actually. It's almost, we're going to go and cry with a field that's been clear cut next to a new development, which apparently is supposed to be an Indigenous development. It's called T-Win. And so out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. So who's right? Why was this field clear cut? Because people had not known in the community, and it's a private landowner, a farmer who has decided to clear cut his land. Literally, there's a field. So we will be meeting there. And yeah, so thank you for the poem.
My pleasure, Janet. So I wish you all the very best with tomorrow's meeting. I'm not able to move to the next slide. Yeah, there, it worked. So the key takeaways from our conversation today, as you would have already read on the website, would be first to expand awareness of self as coach in finding yourself on the conscious self-responsibility journey. Second, relating to the importance of conscious work towards being significant in paving way for success. And third, understanding the need of continuous exploration, reflection, and navigation of self in relation to the challenges of the real world. Is there any other intention that you bring to the session? Would anybody like to share with a show of hand other than what I shared on the screen?
Okay, I found this on the web for. Is there any other intention that you bring to the session? Would anybody like to share with issue of an other than what I shared on the screen? Check it out.
Is that my?
Siri coming in.
If you want me to share your slide, I'm okay to share, so you can concentrate fully to your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the penguin talking.
So would you like to share the presentation, Aya? You have it
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Yes. So this is the one, right? And then just a moment. And yeah. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you. That works. So since we spoke about this poem, I would like to also share now. Can we go to the next slide after the penguin slide? As you can see, that in today's time, it's an irony that having everything available at the click of a button in the time of accelerating global change and digital connectivity, some of us feel isolated. In fact, most of us feel isolated wherever we are, whether it's home or workplace. And this disconnection is very, very rampant, and it's seen in each and every family. So in the pursuit of our individual aspirations, we have ignored our innate equal desires for happiness and well-being, and have failed to grasp the fundamental sameness, interdependence, and interconnectivity at emotional levels. We see global depletion, we see forest fires, we see biodiversity being affected, seawater levels rising, climate change all over temperatures. These are things that we all worry about. And getting together to see what one can do about this does help. And that's where the connectivity, interdependence, and understanding the sameness of all human beings who can actually, with their cognitive skills, make that difference is something that we all are working towards. And the lack of oneness and connectedness in oneself and others and the rest of the world is the ultimate truth. And that oneness of connecting with oneself first and with the others and then the outer world is something where coaching and climate change or environmental awareness merge. So I would like to say that for the sake of our individual as well as collective advancement, we need to enhance empathy, compassion, tolerance, justness, and activate our higher frequencies if we can. And as coaches, we are able to do that for ourselves, and we are able to be the wind beneath the wings of our mentees. So I feel that this can only be achieved by putting life at the center of everything. And while we do that, we realize again the strength of this interconnection. Can we go to the next slide, Aya? So this is something we all have come across very often. And from VUCA world to Bani world, which is now considered brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. So considering that the world is becoming a Bani world, our present and future is more like these words that I mentioned here. So now if we resonate that if things are the way they are, and if we don't transform ourselves, then is it in the better interest of our future generations, of our great-grandchildren? And is it in the greater interest of the environment, the oceans, and the air? Go to the next slide, Aya. Thank you. So I'd like you to now arrange for the breakout room, Aya, if it's possible, so that we can reflect on the questions given in the next slide.
We will be going shortly into breakout rooms of pairs.
Mhm.
You will have 8 minutes in total. That is 4 minutes for each person. So we are inviting you to actually have a timer so that 4 minutes is for one and 4 minutes is for the other. So the reflections that you will share are in that space of 4 minutes. And we're inviting you to embrace silence within that time if you do not have 4 minutes to actually of things to share. So we will shortly be going there.
Okay, so I will send. Okay.
Do you want to? Yeah. And can we put the questions in the chat, if possible?
I can share this screen to the breakout room. I think all the breakout room people can see this screen.
Or I'll try and put the questions here.
Are you sure?
If you go to the breakout room, it's shared. But if you want me to put in the message, that's also I can do.
Yeah, I would also put it in the chat just in case. You know, you're the first one to tell me we can have a slide in the breakout.
Zoom has a lot of functions.
Yeah, so maybe you want to stop the recording now and then restart when people come back in 8 minutes, because we might be chatting.
Sure. So after having checked in with how you're feeling at this moment, let's take this forward.
Yeah, people are coming back now.
Mhm.
Ritu.
It's wonderful to see Jane. Yes.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone.
Aya, are you taking the slides forward or should I share my screen? Oh, you're on mute.
Is that okay? You can see the screen now?
Are you able to see the screen? Yes, I'm able to.
Everybody, yeah. Everybody can see the screen. That's good. Okay. The next slide, or I stay this slide?
Next, let's go to the next slide. So, talking about the dualistic mind, and Janet also shared in her reflection in the breakout room the difference between possibilities and what is. And so talking about the dualistic mind here, there's this quote again by Rumi, which says, I suffered a lot in the past to let go of these labels. Beyond these labels, these distinctions, lies a serene place. This is where we shall meet each other. So a dualistic mind, sections of emotions, thoughts, and events as either good or bad, or black or white sometimes, not always. So we label the things we don't like as bad and call the ones we like as good. Our dualistic mind sections of emotions, thoughts, and events as we automatically follow it. This mental division is often the main reason behind our inner and outer conflicts. Black and white are man-made. We are familiar with the good and the bad, the truth and the false. However, below the surface of black and white, there is gray space, which we fail to see, a space of voids and conflicts. Can we go to the next slide, Aya? So some of us might be familiar with this PERMA model of Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman is seen as the founding father of positive psychology. And positive psychology is the scientific study of human strengths and values. Positive psychology movement can be described as the study of what constitutes the pleasant life, the engaged life, and the meaningful life. And research into positive psychology focuses more on scientific explanations for positive thoughts and actions. So the PERMA model talks about positive emotions, engagement, relationships which are positive, meaning, accomplishments, and achievements. So in an organization, to have meaningful interactions and engaged employees and have work flowing in a way that it benefits, the organization in terms of its people, processes, systems. Not just that, going beyond that, if one wants to link that to the organization's vision, then building this positive environment in an organization is important. And models like the learning organizations, and there are a few other models, the fifth discipline, which talk about how organizations can sustain themselves meaningfully in today's environment. So now, talking from the positive side of these thoughts, if we take it towards, again, the liminal spaces that are there in being very positive and outcome oriented and missing out on some important facts when one is being too positive, that's the liminal space that as coaches we tap into. So now I'll request you to reflect going further. The next slide, may I request you, Aya? Excuse me.
So the question for reflection for this breakout group, and you will have 6 minutes, so 3 minutes each, is what can we collectively stop doing and what can we collectively start doing differently towards a truly regenerative future? And so the invitation this time, it is your second reflection breakout group, is when you come back, if you can share in the chat what's coming up for you. And I believe Ritu may actually ask a few volunteers to share if you raise your hand.
Sure.
So I will send the 6 minutes breakout room, the different pair. And then, there is one room, it's only one person. So Stuart, can you join to the room 2? Okay, so I will send.
So welcome back, everyone. You are invited to share in the chat your reflections on the reflection questions. And I give it over to Ritu because I believe she's curious about a few of you in terms of what your takeaways are. So raise your hand if you're willing to share.
It's perfectly all right if you want to stay with your thoughts.
Yeah, Peggy,
Mm-hmm.
she's raised her hand.
Hi there. Well, I had the pleasure, a real pleasure, to be in a breakout room with Kat. And you have to realize where I'm coming from. Like, I'm a neat bite here, totally. So to sit in a room of someone who's knowledgeable, and there's 2 things that really came out for us there was Kat's ability to speak very learnedly about walking the way, walking the talk, doing what each of us can do on our own personal level, and been a model to people, modeling the way. And then I think I was able to bring to the conversation being able, and many people on this call can do it, bring the knowledge and the research and the information forward to people that may not really care about if we're walking the talk, but maybe some of the information that you share with them and maybe I may share with them can start something. Because I think people's eyes are starting to get opened up. But what's that little hook? How do you draw them in? How do you engage them? And I look forward to that. And I think I said to Kat, You know, I'll probably write 15 people today and say, you won't believe where I was today, this morning, in my little villa in Portugal. In honesty, I'll get 5 people write me back and say, that's interesting, tell me more. And the other 10 will probably write back and ask, what am I drinking over here? Like, what the hell's happening to you? You know, like, wow, since when did you get concerned by this? So, you know, I come from that change element, that human change. How do you draw people in? And it's small pieces, small bits. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to share?
It's okay if you want to stay with your thoughts. We will have another breakout room, another reflection round. So perhaps you could reflect and share your thoughts then. So going forward, I'll request Haya to once again share the slide, the next slide.
So while we're transitioning, I just want to share what Jan has shared in the chat. She said she felt that local projects are so powerful, building local community resilience for food, transport, etc. within our bioregion. And my partner gave 2 beautiful examples from her area of a community garden and beach cleanups.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Jan.
Adding to that, Jan, I have been working with the remote areas and villages. And also, you know, I belong to a village in Haryana. So my childhood has been in the village. I mean, the holidays, at least every holiday we used to be amidst the nature with the extended family. So I resonate with this, and I would like to share that being with nature and being with your roots has been very fulfilling. And that feeling, you know, post moving to the city life and continuing to live in metropolitans, it has never been the same. So I deeply resonate with what you said. And now also when I work with people from these areas, I feel that they're leading a fulfilled life to quite an extent more than people in cities, because their requirements are minimal. And materialism and the capitalism, though of course has touched them also, now with the push factor of marketing, where products are first created and then the market is found, and the rural markets are also tapped, and the development is happening at a very fast speed in rural areas also. However, for them to be continuing to be associated with their indigenous ways of growing food organically and being connected with their cattle, for instance, or having their own streams of natural flowing water and things like that, which is now changing, unfortunately. But they are closer to the nature, and like we shared in the breakout room also, that brings out the best in all of us, even now from the cities, as Janet shared, if I'm allowed to share that, Janet. So, Janet, I was mentioning about what you said about, you know, connecting with the nature, and then that brings out the best in you. So I linked the thread to our conversation in the breakout room.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ritu. So I'm struck by, you know, when we see people who maybe not to, let's say, our level of understanding, or so we assume. And, living in a land where we've had much disconnection between nature, our Aboriginal people who have had a disconnection with nature because of trauma, because of residential schools, and they're coming back to their ways. I'm wondering if, one of the things collectively we might do is just choose those places, look for opportunities to bring people back to connect with nature. Because whether, it doesn't really matter, which class we are. Does it really matter that our level of education? One connecting point, and I really believe this through the mycelium, is how we connect to nature. And in doing that, irrespective of our class or status in the world or where we live, that brings us together. So that's my offering earlier today.
Thank you. That's so meaningful at this point. Thank you. Aya, may I request you to take us? Okay, let's just go through this slide. So,
Next slide.
so I'm sure you all read the quote by Dalai Lama. Yes, now we can stay at this slide, which talks about ever-evolving web of connectedness. And again, Janet just mentioned about the mycelium network, the underneath the mushrooms, the way they in the forest, how that gives life to the forest and the ecosystem in the forest. So the ever-evolving web of connectedness, here, what I'm trying to bring forth is that self cannot be understood unless we see self as a part of the system. And that to me is emotional regulation and intelligence. Can we go to the next slide? So self-awareness is the bedrock of emotional intelligence that enables you to see your talents, shortcomings, and potential. This is a quote from Harvard Business Review, which talks about how self-awareness is the key to emotional intelligence. We'll go to the next slide, Aya. Now I'll request you to lean into the liminal spaces, the spaces between stimulus and response, space between inherited beliefs or narratives, constructs, perceptions, and reconstructed beliefs. Who are we being now, and who can we possibly be? The liminal space between serendipity, synchronicity, and confirmation bias. Now, this is to me when, as I linked, I would now like to link it to positive psychology slide that we had. So when we are being positive in situations where action is required or where deliberation is required, and without really doing something about what needs to be done, just being positive may not be the answer. And just by being positive, manifesting affirmations, these can lead to serendipity. They can lead to some sort of synchronicity. And things may start to happen and we might feel that everything is right. However, that could be a confirmation bias. So as a coach, I invite you to explore these liminal spaces. Also, incessant rumination over past experiences and thoughts of future. And positivity, lack of action, and purest form of positivity. We will be talking about the purest form of positivity. And reality and possibility. So staying on the same slide, intentions made while tripping on mood boosters are made at surface level. And positive statements may make us feel good because it releases brain's natural feel-good chemicals, after all, which are endorphins and enkephalins, if I'm right. So these chemicals, they make us feel good for the time being when we are being positive, and they're important. And positive affirmations in times of distress and breakdown, things like I'm good or I'm okay, they do give us an instant feel-good factor. But the purest form of positivity, it can be achieved only at deeper level. And when we embed the transformation at our subconscious or our unconscious level, that's when the true transformation happens. And true transformations don't happen just at the surface level. So I request you to take us to the next slide, Aya. So reflecting on accountability done at deeper level leads to a positive identity. Would you like to reflect on this? And questioning existing values and beliefs is how the transformation can happen at the positive identity level. Also making adjustments at a deeper subconscious level. By doing so, we have greater probability for our intentions to translate into measurable actions. And as coaches, we work on ourselves first and then create the same experiences for others. So I have read this book, Self as Coach and Self as Leader by Pamela McLean. And this book has been transformative for me as a coach. So for me, my journey has been self-transformation, which started with my coaching journey, perhaps even earlier, with some sort of awareness, and it continues. So even now at this stage, one feels that there is so much to learn. And why I link coaching with spirituality is because coaching does not tell you what to do. Just to an extent in spirituality, we may follow things, without really wanting to check in with ourselves. Whereas when we speak about coaching, we let our mentees, our clients take their own decisions, do things at their own pace, and get clarity for themselves. So that, for me, is a very beautiful experience that gets created in coaching conversations. Aya, may I request you to take us to the next slide? I'm not able to. All right, so making adjustments at, we already done with this slide. So the next slide. You're on mute, Aya.
Yes.
Yes, so this is the
This
slide.
slide, okay.
Sure. So I look at this model as my own model, which is my space to reflect on my own journey. And I call this my conscious self-responsibility. So as you look at this model, whatever may be coming up for you, you may like to keep it to yourself, or if you're open to sharing it here with us, you could unmute yourself, raise your hand and share your thoughts. So what I'll do is I'll request Aya to take us to the next slide so that there is a little more clarity with respect to what this model can help us with.
So Ritu, Stu has said it's a beautiful and powerful model. And what I'm really thinking is, you know, is it possible maybe following the session, you put it actually on, or you provide it to us so that we can put it on LinkedIn as a result of the session? We'll include your email and
Sure.
we can all link to it.
Sure, it is free for everyone to use. I will be sharing different variations of this model with everyone. So now looking at this as through reflections, when we went through understanding our responsibility, collective responsibility towards the connectedness of this world, the interconnectedness, and our responsibility towards others, whether it's at workspace or at home in relationships or in extended environment, extended relationships. So I would now invite you to look at this model from purely self-regulation aspect, where our thoughts, our aspirations, and our energy, if that is regulated at a deeper level, not surface level, but at a deeper level, what is it that we can achieve? So just stay with this thought for a moment. Can we move to the next slide if everyone is comfortable? So this is another version of the same model. Now here I invite you again to look at it from you being connected with the planet Earth. See yourself as this soul or this individual who is on this planet Earth and who is in direct connection with the planet Earth. So what you do affects it, and with what it gets, it continues to give you in whatever best possible way it can. So whichever model resonates with you, in the reflection now in the breakout room, you could reflect and share with us.
So we have, I believe, 11 minutes remaining in our session. So I would invite us to have a breakout room for maximum 5 minutes in pairs, and be prepared to come back and share in the chat. And then Ritu will take us through the closing pieces of her presentation.
Can you just remind the question?
Ritu, the question?
Sure, I'll request you to take us down to 2 more slides. Let's go back to the previous slide and stay there for a moment. Yes, thank you. Is it clear? So it says conscious self-responsibility, which is MyCSR. To have a regenerative planet where one can regrow, one can be renewed and restored. This goes with respect to planet and our own self. So how does this speak to you?
How does this speak to you? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just redoing the rooms because 2 people went into the rooms and they have not actually been part of, this. Yeah, we're going to redo them. Okay.
I will redo the room.
Yeah, just redo the rooms. Yeah. Because
Do
2
we have
people.
an extra
Yeah.
room for 3 pairs?
Yeah, there is 2 rooms of 2 people, so whichever Stu can join.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you, Aya.
We'll repeat.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Hoping these reflections were meaningful or more meaningful than the previous ones. And we invite you to share in the chat any takeaways from that conversation.
Janet, it's absolutely okay if they want to stay with the model and they want to stay with their thoughts, because it is deep and it might take a long time to process. So,
Yeah, so Hidayat Fathoni wrote in that I appreciate the MyCSR model breakdown. So that message was sent to me, so I actually put it in the chat.
Mhm.
And Stu has written harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility in a few languages.
Mhm.
I was just in our breakout, Aya-san was just talking
Yeah,
about
I was sharing this. Yeah.
the Japanese tea ceremony. Sorry, Aya-san, you explain.
Yeah, I was just connecting with what the model said, that you presented, that it's connecting really Wake Seijaku, that means harmony or wa, and K is respect, and Sei is purity, and then Jaku is tranquility or like non-attachment. So like having this Wake Seijaku, that means truly we are silence, power of silence. Then we can be truly conscious. And then once we are conscious, we know what is a true responsibility. So that it's really connecting with Japanese tea ceremony spirit of this. Yeah.
Okay, so if we can put the presentation back up, because we'd like to go to the final slide.
linking it to what Aya shared, what stays with me, Aya, is that no attachment, having no attachment to our beliefs, our mental models, our perceptions, and to an extent to things that we create, or to an extent to where we reach with our hard work and our journeys. If we, learn to detach from our achievements, not just the objects or the materialism, but also things that are tacit, things that are not tangible. If we can be again in the liminal space of being detached and observing those things and seeing how they play out, releasing them. So that to an extent makes life a little light and easygoing. And in current time, that's the space where we can think about or reflect on operating from. So I struggle to get myself into this space. Having said that, it's not easy, but every moment there is struggle, or every moment there is challenge. Challenge is good and bad both. So I'm talking about the worst kind of challenges one faces in life. That's when, again, being detached and seeing things play up and waiting for things sometimes to just find their own answer can be very powerful. Just sharing this thought.
Yeah, thank you, Ritu. So do you have a final slide so that we can move to close, because we are at time?
So there is a quote at the end of the slides, the closing slides, which are there. These are some of the links that we will be sharing with the participants.
Yeah.
And
can we actually put the links up in the video so that those viewing the video, following, can actually see that? Aya, can you go through each of the pages and just put a couple of seconds for each? One speed right there. So these are the links.
These are the links that I referred to when I was making this presentation.
Yeah, and can we go to the slide previously just to make sure that we've caught it here in the video? So thank you, Ritu, for your contact information, so that those who wish to be in contact with you can certainly follow up. I am, so honored to have held the space to support you today for this CCA session as part of the Global Festival in 2023. And I am, I wish to thank Aya for being our tech host. And at this point, I would invite everybody to open their mics and say thank you personally to Ritu as we count down to our final seconds together today.
Ritu, thank you for bringing Rumi into the room.
Thank you. That was my pleasure, Kat. I'm glad you enjoyed. And thank you so much, each one of you, for your time and being with us in this space where we could ourselves reflect and reconnect with our thoughts and connect with all of you here. I thank CCA once again, and I thank Janet and Aya for the support, and look forward to staying connected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ritu.
Thank you.
All the link of contact is in the chat, so.
So look forward to staying connected with each one of you. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you, Ritu, for all your wisdom and your wonderful presence, your energetic presence as well.
Thank you, Stu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet, for facilitating.